Most drivers think the number on the door sticker is the correct tire pressure. It isn't. And if you've been setting your tires to that number without ever questioning it, there's a good chance you've been wearing out your tires faster, hurting fuel economy, and making your car feel worse than it should, because that PSI number on the sticker was never designed to be the perfect number for everyday driving. It was designed as a legal safety baseline. And once you understand that, a lot of what you've been told about tire pressure starts to fall apart. Why the door sticker number exists. That number on your driver's door jamb is not the ideal PSI for your tires in normal daily use. It's the minimum pressure the manufacturer can recommend while still keeping the vehicle safe under the most extreme load conditions the car is rated for. That means engineers are not picturing your normal commute when they choose that number. They're picturing a worst-case scenario: a fully loaded vehicle, multiple passengers, cargo in the trunk, sustained highway speeds, high ambient temperatures, and a driver who may never check tire pressure at all. From there, they work backward. The question they answer is not, what pressure gives the best tire life, best handling, and best efficiency? The real question is, what is the lowest pressure this vehicle can safely run under maximum load without risking failure? That number goes on the sticker, not because it's optimal, but because it protects the manufacturer from liability. It's a safety floor, not a performance target. Why that number can be wrong for daily driving. The problem is simple. Most people are not driving around at maximum load every day. In reality, most vehicles spend the majority of their time lightly loaded. One driver may be a passenger and minimal cargo. That means the tire is almost never operating under the conditions the sticker was designed for. So when you inflate your tires based on a number meant for a heavier worst-case scenario, the tire may not be operating in the correct range for how the car is actually being used. When pressure is too low for real-world conditions, the tire begins to flex more than it should. The sidewalls take on more stress, the structure becomes less stable, and the tread no longer stays evenly supported across the road. Over time, that imbalance creates excess friction and heat in the wrong areas. And that's when tire wear starts getting expensive. Not all at once, but slowly, quietly, and consistently over thousands of miles. What actually happens at too low pressure? When pressure is too low, the tire loses structural support. Every time it rolls, the sidewall compresses under the vehicle's weight, then rebounds back into shape. This cycle happens thousands of times per mile, and that constant flexing creates internal stress that most drivers never see. Over time, three things happen. First, the tire loses stiffness, which reduces stability and responsiveness. Second, the tread stops carrying load evenly, shifting more weight toward the outer edges. Third, and most importantly, heat begins to build in those overstressed areas. And heat is what destroys tread life. Not mileage, not speed, heat. That's why so many drivers end up with tires worn heavily on both outer shoulders, while the center still looks fine. It's a slow, deceptive wear pattern. Drivers blame alignment, cheap tires, or rough roads, but when both edges wear evenly while the center remains intact, that almost always points back to insufficient pressure for the load the tire is actually carrying. So what's the real number? The real number usually isn't the door sticker. It's somewhere between the sticker and the tire's sidewall maximum. Every tire has a maximum pressure rating molded into the sidewall, something like max load at 51 pounds per square inch cold. That number isn't a recommendation, it's a structural limit, but it does define the upper boundary of what the tire can safely handle. So instead of thinking in terms of one fixed number, think in terms of a usable operating window. The door sticker is the floor, the sidewall maximum is the ceiling, and everything in between is where the tire can function properly depending on load and conditions. For most daily driving, the sweet spot is typically in the upper half of that range, often around 38 to 42 PSI cold for many passenger vehicles. That's where the tire maintains its intended shape. The tread sits flat against the road, and the load is distributed evenly across the contact patch. That balance is what reduces wear, minimizes heat buildup, and allows the tire to perform the way it was engineered to. Why higher PSI isn't automatically bad? Many drivers hear anything above the door sticker and immediately assume it's overinflated. But that's not what overinflation actually means. Overinflation is when you exceed the tire's structural limit, not when you go above the manufacturer's minimum recommendation. That distinction is critical. Running slightly higher pressure while still safely below the tire's maximum rating often improves how the tire functions in real-world driving. It allows the tire to maintain its proper shape under load instead of collapsing slightly at the contact patch. That improved structure leads to more precise steering, better road feedback, and a vehicle that tracks straighter at highway speeds. Lane changes feel tighter, transitions feel more controlled, and the car often feels more stable overall. Yes, the ride may feel slightly firmer on rough pavement, but most drivers find that the gain in control, stability, and predictability far outweighs any minor loss in comfort. What changes when pressure is actually correct? When tire pressure is matched to how the vehicle is actually driven, the improvements are immediate and noticeable. First, tire wear becomes significantly more even. Instead of the outer edges wearing prematurely, the entire tread surface shares the load, which can add thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, of extra miles to the life of the tire. Second, fuel economy improves. Underinflated tires create excess rolling resistance, forcing the engine to work harder just to maintain speed. When pressure is corrected, that resistance decreases, allowing the vehicle to move more efficiently and reducing fuel consumption over time. Third, handling improves across the board. Steering becomes more responsive, highway driving feels more stable, and braking performance improves because the tire maintains a more consistent and stable contact patch with the road. This isn't just a small optimization. It fundamentally changes how the vehicle feels and performs. But don't do this wrong. There are a few rules that actually matter, and ignoring them is where people get into trouble. Always check tire pressure when the tires are cold, ideally before the vehicle has been driven, because heat from driving increases pressure and gives you an inaccurate reading. Never exceed the maximum PSI printed on the tire sidewall, as that represents the structural limit of the tire. Adjust for load when necessary. If you're carrying passengers, cargo, or preparing for a long trip, the required pressure may need to move closer to the door sticker value to properly support the added weight. Temperature also plays a major role, as tire pressure drops with colder weather and rises with heat, meaning seasonal adjustments are essential. And finally, don't rely on your tire pressure monitoring system. The tire pressure system is to tell you your pressure is good. That system is also designed to warn you when pressure is dangerously low, not when it's slightly off. By the time the light comes on, the tire has already been under-supported, and wear, inefficiency, and heat damage have likely already begun. The door sticker, PSI, was never meant to be perfect. It was meant to be the legal baseline. Your tires don't care about liability. They care about load, pressure, temperature, and how you actually drive. So if you've been blindly following that number, there's a good chance you've been shortening tire life without realizing it. And once you understand how much one number affects wear, fuel economy, handling, and braking, the real question becomes, what else are drivers doing by the book that's quietly costing them money? Subscribe to CarSplainer for more real-world car advice most drivers never hear until it's too late.